time where I thought it was on and it wasn't.
No. You probably were good too.
I was not happy. Okay, you
That's
ready?
funny. Yeah. Okay.
Hey guys, Brian Hilliard here, author of the best-selling book Networking Like a Pro, and you are listening to ClientBuilder Networking, the radio show designed to help busy entrepreneurs get more leads and close more deals. Now today we are here with Deb Doughty. She is here in the studio with us, and we're going to just kind of talk a little sales and marketing with Deb and get a little feel as to, some of the things that she's done to be successful with other people. So first of all, on behalf of everybody out there, just want to welcome you to the show.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for letting me be here, Brian. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Hi, everybody.
Awesome. One of the things, and we've talked about this, before, one of the things that people are always talking about is networking. They're talking about marketing. There's some misconceptions out there, obviously, as you know. And I want to be able to kind of get into that a little bit here with you today.
Sure.
But before I do, tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe a little bit about how you got started, what you've been doing, all that kind of stuff. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am Deb Doughty with the Deb Doughty Consulting Group, and I am a person that loves to work with busy entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And I really love to help them market their business in less than 90 days, truly, and get them off and running and have a game plan that's solid that they can market their business and truly teach them how to network and marketing, which are two different things, but do go along together, and most people get those wrong.
Interesting. Networking and marketing are two different things. Talk to us. I mean, that's an interesting point right off the bat. What do you see as the difference? Networking, marketing. I know I think of networking as part of the marketing equation. Most people think of networking as almost just their sole marketing deal. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, a lot of people, don't have a great, huge budget to actually, advertise or market their business, which marketing and advertising are two different things also. But most people think, well, I can just go out there and network and, I can go out there to all the different events that are around, the associations. I have to go to all the chamber things.
Actually, it's a chamber after hours. We need to go right now.
Come on, let's go. Just get our business cards, and we just got to give them out to everybody, Brian. And that's pretty much what networking is to a lot of people. They don't know how to do it correctly to be able to get the results that they truly want, or how to leave that lasting impression, which we call the visible identity. What do you do when you're there? Most people go out and they run around like a chicken with their head cut off, and they're passing out business cards. They're, just popping in and out of all these different places, and they truly do think that that's networking.
And that's a great point, because a lot of times, and I know you talk about this as well, marketing is a series of tools, right?
Absolutely.
Marketing is something where when you're going out there, you're doing networking, maybe you're doing referrals, social media. We can get into this stuff obviously later on. But marketing is something where when you're doing it on a consistent basis, it allows people to see you. And be able to know what it is that you're all about. Well, tell us a little bit about maybe who it is that you work with. Some of the people that you work with. Give us a feel. Obviously, we don't need names, but give us a feel for who it is. Give us a feel for who you work with.
Well, actually, it's really a whole lot of different busy entrepreneurs. I mean, from one extreme to the other. Some are therapists. Some are martial arts academies.
Really?
Yes, and those are quite interesting. Some have actually been graphic designers, and the list just goes on and on and on. And I've also helped a lot of people within their industry that are leaders within their industry that have to lead other teams of people. Help to be successful as well.
Well, that's a good list. I think also, as from you kind of got me thinking about this a little bit from a marketing standpoint. You're working with people, as I hear you're working with people who are looking for some answers.
Absolutely.
One of the things, and I do a lot of this, I have a lot of interviews with people, obviously I do a lot of speaking and stuff like that as you do. And one of the things that I run into a lot is people are good at what they're good at, but not so great letting others know about it.
Great point.
I'm the head cake baker person, whatever, and I'm going out there and I'm great at baking cakes, but maybe I'm not so great at letting others know about the cakes that I bake. You know what I mean? And what I'm hearing you say is you kind of go out there and talk to some of these people.
Absolutely, because to that point right there, most of those types of people would just say, oh, well, if you have a party coming up, well, here's my card. Just give me a call.
Right. If you build it.
Really? Yeah. I mean, build it and they'll come, right?
Right.
No, wrong. Right. They have to build a relationship with you. You have to build a relationship with them.
Right.
You have to, again, leave that, the lasting impression with them of why are they going to seek you out.
Right.
And another misconception I really feel very much, what's the word I'm looking for? I just think it's a big problem out there that so many people in business are not being the part.
Yeah.
They are not being the part. Right. They're not walking the walk and talking the talk.
Right.
They're just talking the talk.
Right.
Versus walking the walk.
Right.
Okay? And I always say, and you and I discussed this before, is you have to be the person that the person you're looking for is looking for.
That's exactly right. I was saying, it's a funny story, and we talked about this before we got on, but as you guys maybe know, one of our dogs, we have a dog, my wife and I have a dog, and his name is Barley.
Barley.
Yeah, right, Barley the dog. And you'll see some video on him later maybe. But, one of the things you and I were talking about before was how, I'm putting a video out there that says how Barley passed a referral.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And what was the point, just real quick, was Barley is a Shiba Inu. Okay, that's the name of his breed. And there were some neighbors. We live in a 200-person subdivision, right? And what happened was Barley, we would walk him, and he was real well-behaved and stuff like that. And apparently one of our neighbors saw Barley, and I guess he didn't like dogs, right? He didn't like dogs. But his kids liked him, and he was like, all right, well, I'll make it again. So he asked one of our other neighbors who knew that they knew me and said, well, what kind of dog is this Barley that I guess he didn't even know the name. What kind of dog is this, African-American couple in our neighborhood that I keep seeing walking this dog, right? And, since there aren't too many of those around, it was probably easy to figure out what the dog was. So he says, oh, that's Barley, and he's a Shiba Inu. And he says, you know what, we're going to get a Shiba Inu. And the point that I make to people is that, getting off of your be the part,
right.
Barley passed a referral, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he referred his breed.
Right.
I mean, let's just
by who he was and who he be.
He can't talk to anybody.
Right.
I mean, right? He doesn't talk. We actually don't spend a lot of time with this guy. I've never seen the guy. I mean, I've seen him a couple of times, but to say we're best friends is a complete overstatement.
Not even an acquaintance, really. Just, in passing.
I don't even know if it's that. I don't know. I mean, obviously his kids saw us probably more than once, and he saw us. But my point is that by Barley, he didn't convince anybody that you need to buy a dog like him.
Right.
He was the dog that they were looking to buy.
So it wasn't a hard sell.
It wasn't a hard sell. It wasn't cajoling. It wasn't convincing. And that kind of gets to your point, right? I think a lot of times these entrepreneurs, they're going out and they're so busy.
Being busy.
They're so busy going out and trying to convince people that they've got all this stuff that they lost track of the fact that all you really have to do is just be the person, to your point, embody your service is what I call it. Be that person who, that you want to be.
Right.
So I think that's a great point. And, one of the things that I've got down here that I wanted to touch base with you about is, you talk about people being busy, right? They're so busy being busy, right?
Yes,
and this idea, and they're running around and doing all these things. And kind of the deal that I make, and I know you talk about it a lot, is working in the business versus on the business.
Right.
Talk to us a little bit about kind of that point from a marketing perspective.
Sure. Well, I think a lot of times, again, people are running around like a chicken with their head cut off or, the hamster on the wheel type syndrome.
Right.
By the end of the day, they're doing this, going here, there, everywhere, and, showing their face and going to this networking event or this business meeting or what have you.
Right.
Or not even seeing the right clientele because they really don't understand who the right clients are to go after. Or the environment to be in to find them.
Right.
So by the end of the day, they're exhausted and they go, oh my gosh, I had such a day. Honey, I was out working all day long and I'm just so exhausted. And oh my gosh, now I got to deal with these kids.
Right.
And you're like, well, what did you do? Tell me, how many sales did you make today? Or how much income did you make today? And you're like, well, I was really busy.
Met a great bunch of great people.
Right. I probably got 10 business cards today. And, and really that's not effective at all. So what I do, and I come across a lot of people, and we teach them how to work what we call IPAs.
Okay.
income producing activities.
Talk to us about that.
Oh my gosh, it makes such a difference. So an income producing activity is that you're working the business versus the business working you.
Right.
So you're doing the important things that are in the business that are getting you the bottom line profit.
Right.
You're being productive versus just being lackadaisical, I guess I'll just say. And the other thing is with the IPAs, it gives you a sense of structure and focus versus just checking emails and text messages and making all the return calls and so on, where again, an IPA is, for like a web designer, for instance. A web designer would need to do follow-up calls with people that they maybe did meet at a association event that came to them and said, hey, by the way, I need some, can you do this on my website? Or, how can I get a little bit more help with clarifying my message and get it out via the web, those types of. So following up with those people, making those calls, making those appointments. It's not sitting behind emails and let me just, type up a flyer and information and then just blast it out to everybody. A wedding planner, for instance, that maybe you met some people at this past weekend that you just did a photo shoot at, and they went, oh my gosh, your work was so beautiful.
So wedding photographer.
I'm sorry, wedding photographer. And they saw your work. They saw the excellence that you put into what you do. And they said, oh, you know what? I've got a niece that's getting ready to get married here in 3 months. Do you mind if we, or I've got my daughter is going to have a bridal shower. We would love to, look into your services. So you're going to sit down and be productive and proactive in calling those people and following up with those people first. Versus, okay, I went to a networking event last week and I collected 10 business cards. Let me just call these people and say, hey, or just blast them with something.
And I think great point with those IPAs, because I think a lot of times people go to the path of least resistance. And they go to this place of what's easier. Which is kind of related. And then they also do this thing of, they come in there with this premise. This is what I've seen. They come in with this premise of I got 1,000 things I need to accomplish, And since I need to get them all done, let me get the easiest, quickest things done first. And what I'm hearing you say is, well, okay, that's one way to do it. But maybe another way to do it is to take a look at those 1,000 things and say, which one are going to be the income-producing activities? I mean, I think that's what I'm hearing you say.
Oh, it's absolutely right, because there's going to be things on that list, probably half of what's on your list somebody else can do. Whether it's your assistant, whether it's a virtual assistant. I mean, you know what? Honestly, it could even be a teenager, depending on what it is that you need to do.
Well, we're training Barley to scan business cards.
See what I'm saying?
We've been trying that for years.
It could even be our animals. I mean, don't you love it?
We still haven't quite gotten them. We haven't gotten that part yet, but we're working on it.
But you get my point. I mean, there's some things that are so minute that other people can literally do that you do not have to do as the business owner. But sometimes, we just don't know what to do, and that's why we're just so busy. And if you set the priorities right and you work on what the income producing activities are to give you that, it's going out and making the appointments, it's booking, it's getting on the phone. The phone is your friend. Period. It is calling and following up with people. It may even be linking in with people
I'm a big fan of
that you've met through a networking event that you've actually had a conversation with. And that you asked about them and it wasn't all about you. And you started to build a relationship. Those are income producing activities.
And I think a lot of people, I mean, we'll move on to the next point here. I think a lot of people, when they're talking about the income producing activities and they're talking about getting around this idea of working on the business, in the business versus on the business, is that they're so focused on how can I get through this list. I need to get through this list. And I don't have time to figure out whether it's what I'm doing is important. I call it climbing too high on the wrong tree.
There you go.
They're climbing. They're so busy trying to get to the next, put one foot in front of the other, that it almost hasn't occurred to them that maybe we might not be going in the right direction. You know what I mean? Great point. All right, so we talked a little bit about how you help people get around that, which is focusing, on the business versus in the business. You help them be able to do that through IPAs. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you got into it a little bit. Tell some of the folks how you got started, maybe what it was that you did. Give us a little feedback on that.
Sure. I actually... years ago.
Yeah.
I won't say how many years ago.
Well, that's fine. You look great. You're
Good,
fine.
Thank you. But back in my younger days,
right.
I actually was I was recruited right when I was in college.
Okay.
And I was recruited by the Walmart Corporation.
Oh, okay.
And I went to work for them,
Right.
and I was with the Sam's division of Walmart.
Sam's Club
division of Walmart.
Right.
And of course, we all know Walmart's the world's largest retailer.
Right.
And I really did have the privilege to be able to be mentored by Sam Walton himself, which was absolutely incredible. I have to tell you this. So I am going back some years now.
Yeah.
But I was with them for 10 years.
Okay.
And the last, I was always in management with them. And as I climbed that corporate ladder, I was a business development manager. And then I also became a regional sales and marketing manager. And that was the last position I held for about 2 years before I decided to actually leave.
Right.
And the reason why I was leaving is because I really enjoyed doing what I did in sales and marketing.
Right.
I enjoyed doing what my previous past, experiences were as well.
Right.
But what I decided is I had so much more to give to other people.
Right.
And I wanted a bigger platform to be able to be a beacon for successful business people.
Right.
To be able to help teach them more of a consultative sales approach versus a traditional sales approach.
Right.
Because in all my years, people had always come to me and said, Deb, such and so referred me to you, at different networking events or different associations and, meetings and so on. Or, I was just like, wow, why do these people keep, I knew I was good at doing what I did.
Sure.
However, but I'm like, why is everybody, sending them my way?
Right.
Then I really just had to catch on and get a little smarter and say, you know what, I really need to just turn this into something that I know that I can be beneficial for me as well as them.
A business.
Exactly. And turning it into a full-fledged business. So I've been coaching people for many, many years.
Right.
And now I'm really taking it and running with it with the whole concept again. Because I was taught many years ago a very traditional approach.
Right.
It was, let's go after them. It's numbers, and it's let's get the sale, and no matter what.
Right.
And, let's throw enough, mud on the wall, and some's going to stick. You just have to go through and keep calling and calling. No, you do not.
Right.
And I had to learn that the hard way.
Right.
So I want other people to understand that there's a much easier, effective
Right.
way, which is called a consultative sales approach to be able to do that.
Right.
And that's really where my heart was.
That's awesome because, you talk about this, because I want to get to that. I'll get to that consultative sales in a second. But I think you talk about, people coming from a kind of a larger corporation.
Absolutely.
Right? And I'm sure you've seen this all the time. I have. You see people who are, and maybe we have some of the people who are listening who are on that, they come from this background of the bigger corporations.
Right.
And they're in, maybe they've been working for 10, 15, 20 years, and then they come out and they're in their own business.
Right.
And they feel like they're good at what they're good at. And I'm going to hang my own shingle.
Right. I'm going to take over the world.
Yeah. I'm going to be the next whatever. Okay, Michael Dell, I guess, or whatever they wanted to. I don't know. And then they go in there, and what happens is they run into a lot of challenges.
Right.
And I think, and I'll just throw this out at you, because one of the things that I think is I think that a lot of people, they take a look at their corporate world and they look at their small business as a miniaturized version of that.
That's exactly what a lot of them do.
You know what I mean? And just, I know we've talked a little bit about that, but for some of our listeners or whatever, what I mean by that is that in the corporate world, it's this kind of transactional, kind of wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
Get in, get out.
Yeah, it's a numbers game. You need to see more people. And it's kind of that conversation. It's a very punitive.
They tell just move on.
Yeah, you need to move. Right. I forgot about that.
Go to the next.
Right. And it's a very kind of this punitive based, confrontational deal.
Oh yeah.
And what happens is people start in this corporate structure, and they think that that's the right way to do it because you've got the Cokes of the world and the FedExes of the world, and they come from this place. Well, I'm going to go down to my small business, and it's just going to be a miniaturized version of that, right? I can't spend $1 million, so I'll spend $1,000. I can't do the big advertising, so I'll go networking. I can't I can't so I'll do that. And one of the things that I try to talk to people about is the idea, and I'm sure I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, but part of it is it's two different things.
Totally two different things. Two totally different entities altogether.
And you've got this traditional approach, and then you've got what I kind of call this relationship approach.
Right.
So you have this relationship marketing where you're engaging people, you're talking to people, and you're using social media, you're networking, referrals, and it's not about a lot of people. And we talked a little bit about this. A lot of people look at networking as like a walking billboard.
It's true. That's true.
Right?
Yes.
It's like right. It's like Bozo the clown comes walking in there, and right. I mean, you have to. Right. He's going to bring like Gumby or something in there. And what you want to do is networking is, and this is kind of your approach, I think, it's more relationship based, right?
It's definitely relationship based, and it's actually almost, for lack of a better word, it's really almost a layering process.
Right.
Right. It's not, just get in and get out.
Right.
And people, if they would understand that they could actually create more business with people that they truly are building a relationship with.
Right.
Versus just here, there, everywhere.
Right.
If they would truly just get that concept, and Brian, I think sometimes because our society today is such a microwave society.
Right.
They want it now, want it now.
You're right.
Where, sometimes it's not going to be immediate, especially when you're building a relationship with people. So you have to still continue to take care of the clients you currently have, of course, as you're building those other relationships with people. But if they would do that, they would be so much better off. And to your point, you cannot take a corporate structure and bring it to a small brick and mortar business.
Right, or any other business.
Exactly,
right.
and try to do those same things. It just doesn't work.
Interesting.
At all.
That's great. Let's talk about this consultative sales approach that you were kind of mentioning. For the term that I always kind of think of when I hear about that, it's kind of like an educationally based piece. Talk to us a little bit about what that looks like when you talk to people, to prospective clients. What's this consultative approach?
Really, it's teaching them how to say and what to say, so people will actually listen to you.
Right.
So it is, again, what's going to make you unique out in the marketplace.
Right.
What is going to leave them with that lasting impression?
Right.
Why are they going to come back to you?
Right.
So there's different language there to be able to be taught, to help them to engage in those conversations, to be able to have a serious, if you want to call it a one-on-one,
right,
or a coffee connection or what have you.
Right.
There's ways to do that to be able to be more productive. And what do you do when you're sitting down and meeting these people? Most, again, for the traditional way is I'm sitting down making an appointment with you, right?
Right.
I'm there to sell you everything.
Get you the deal. Right.
I'm going to bring everything.
Right.
I'm loaded down with all my guns and everything.
Like a Sherpa.
Exactly. There you go. It's exactly what a lot of them do, right? And then it's all
right.
And then the people are like, whoa, and then you're mad by the time you leave because, you asked, well, is there any reason why you can't, purchase today?
Right.
And
That's the close.
Hello, I don't even know you,
right.
Versus when you're building, first of all, we teach you how to work with the person that you really want to work with, because not all clients and prospects are created equal.
Good point.
Okay?
Good point, right.
Because most people, again, in traditional sales approach, traditional marketing is everybody. You just need to talk to them all.
Right.
And that's not true, too.
Right.
So we teach you exactly who it is that you should be looking for.
Right.
Where to find them.
Right.
What to say when you are in front of them.
Right.
That it is not all about you, but it is all about them.
Right.
And then how you bring yourself into the conversation so it actually is a win-win situation, because, I don't care who you are, but nobody wants to be sold.
That's exactly right.
At all.
That's exactly right. And I think, I read a statistic, Brian Tracy talked about this. He said that, 80% of all new sales are obtained after the fifth contact.
Yeah, absolutely.
And part of it is that people coming in, that I've run into, is that people are coming into this place of wham, bam, we talked about that. Right. Thank you, ma'am. And they need to kind of, if you can't do it now, and I mean tonight, preferably today, this morning, that, I need to I need to get out of here.
Right.
I need to go to this next person.
Right.
And part of it is that people, in terms of examples, I tell people if you're going to do down that 3 or 4 contacts, maybe you meet them at the networking event.
Right.
Maybe you follow up with an email with this coffee connection.
Right, email.
Something like that. Maybe you can invite them on LinkedIn. Okay, maybe you can invite them to another networking event.
You do either personal call, you're inviting them to
You can do a call. You can do a call. You can invite them to another event. Maybe you hand out a referral.
Exactly.
Maybe you put them on your newsletter if they've got permission to do that. I mean, there's, what's the phrase? If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Right, true.
And I think a lot of these entrepreneurs, and you correct me on this if I'm wrong, but I see a lot of these entrepreneurs who are, walking around with the marketing equivalent of a hammer.
Right.
And they don't really know that it's not all nails.
No.
And what I know, and we've done some work together, it sounds like what you're doing is you're giving them the equivalent. Yeah, you can use the hammer. You can also use a screwdriver.
Right.
You can also use this little thing that we call a ratchet, I mean, there's...
Right.
There's
and sometimes if you can't find any of those, you could take the wrench out and just bing, 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 bing
That's
at the end.
exactly right.
I mean, there's so many different ways to get to the end result versus being manipulative,
right?
Trying to sell somebody,
right.
And to get to that end result.
That's awesome. All right, I got a couple more questions here. I want to knock out here real quick. We've got is in terms of one of the points I want to mention is talking about some of the challenges maybe that you've seen in the marketplace. I know we kind of touched on one. What are some of the things? I mean, you're out there, you're moving, you're grooving, you're doing all your thing.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about what you've seen in the marketplace and maybe some ideas on how you can help people address that.
Sure. Well, I mean, really some of the challenges I've seen is that they really are not asking the right questions when they're out networking. That's really a big one. Right. Another one actually is, they have really no idea of, and I kind of alluded to this before, a lot of them really don't know who their ideal client is.
Right.
They really do think that everybody is created equally. And that's just not the case. You can spend 10 hours trying to sit down with the wrong, and it could be the wrong people. Right. Versus spending 5 hours with the right people and be more productive. Right. So, I mean, that's the big thing in the marketplace. They do, and another thing is really they honestly do think networking is just going out and showing their face. Right. And that just the more I'm seeing, the more people are just going to refer people to me. That's not the case at all, because if people don't really value you, they don't see you as an expert in doing what you do, and they can't trust you, they're not going to refer you. I don't care what organization you're in with them. They're just not going to do that, because if I'm referring you, I'm putting my word behind it.
That's right.
So I've got to give you my stamp of approval.
That's right.
So, I mean, those are really a lot of predominant things that I see out there that just are not working for people.
I remember when I first started, I wrote my first book in 2000.